What's up, Creative Ones? It's Melissa D'Antoni. Lots of love from Bali. Hopefully you can hear me. And it's so funny. I wanted to talk about war, and it sounds like there's a war. This is really good. We're going to play with this metaphor. It sounds like there's a war going on outside of this perfect setting here in Bali. I'm in the Shala on the beach, where we're going to paint tomorrow, where we've been painting from the inner fire. Private message me if you want to join virtually on that. I'll put the links below. But we are not in a spiritual war. Let me tell you, I know I keep seeing this message, and I wanted to just speak to this and share my perspective. This is my perspective. So I see a lot of people talking about the spiritual war and going into all these like intense metaphors about the war of the dark and the light and blah, blah, blah. And it's beautiful, but I want to speak to it and just offer another harmonizing perspective. Many of us have been going through a powerful, potent awakening for the last, for me, it's been like 20 years. And many of us are way showers. We've been blazing trails to our own awakening. We've been through it. We get it. We can see clearly what's happening. We've been speaking about this for years. If you go on my videos, like on Facebook, my Instagram, and hopefully I'll be updating YouTube as well soon. I've been talking about this for years. My message has not changed, right? It's still the same. The war, though, as I see it, is the war within ourselves, and it is the result of war in the collective, the physical war, our ancestors being at war, right? And all that unresolved trauma that has yet to be dealt with. It is the karmic patterns that have perpetuated because we have yet to deal with the trauma, right? And the distortions that war has created and perpetuated in our development as a species, as a humanity. This is true, and I'm telling you, and I'm speaking this from Bali, this is true in any country. Every country has a karma, every group has a karma, every person, family line has a karmic pattern, right? And all karma is the level of consciousness with which we're creating. And if we are denying our trauma, if we perpetuate it, and we inherit it just by coming into physical form, just being born. So you get to choose what you do with that. You can either pass it down and around, or you can break the cycle. If you want to break the cycle, I've got the Ancestral Alchemy. It's an online journey that you can do on your own, or you can join me on the initiation of the Sovereign Queen or the Sovereign King, which is clearing the ancestral patterns, harvesting the gifts on your family line. If you're a woman, the feminine line, so all the woman's wounds, the sisterhood wounds, the mother wound, all the wounds that really are the effects of a patriarchal society, and how that has blocked us from truly experiencing our wholeness and giving birth to that in all its forms, whether it's a child or art or business or anything, it really comes from your wholeness, your love. So just know that this war, we're actually not in a spiritual war. We are in a spiritual awakening, and the war is allowing your higher self, your high heart, to lead over your ego. And every single person is at war, if you will, if you want to play with that metaphor, sure, but be mindful of the drama and the unresolved trauma underneath that in the collective and individually, because it really is just a spiritual awakening where you get to consciously choose your own creative power, your own consciousness, to make the choices that align with your heart, that lead from the heart versus the head. And it's not that the ego is bad, right? This is part of the integration of the awakening. There is no more dark and light when you awaken. You see, it's all in service to the whole, right? So no more polarizing. We get to come into inner union. We get to come into our wholeness. It really is a trinity, because the child is the heart. It is the Christ. It is the Christ consciousness. It is the creator. It is the innocence of love and wonder and the conduit of joy. And if there's anything taking away your joy in this moment, that's information. That's where you're being called to rise. So I'm sending you so much love. And remember, there's no war. You know, if you want to play with that metaphor, it's just going to drain your energy. Just see it as a spiritual awakening, and you get to choose individually which affects the whole, which affects the collective, right? What are you going to create with? What are you going to leave with? What are you going to take action from? Your head or your heart? Much love. Or really, you know, it's actually both. It's aligning. True embodiment is aligning the head and the heart in all the dimensions, right? So there is no war. It is an integration of your consciousness. Lots of love. Bye for now.